just as the dream was sharpening into focus, life, as it always had for Malak, threw a stone through the window. It happened in a single week. First, the car accident, a split second that could have ended everything. And then, the unthinkable. He lost his job. 2 catastrophic blows in a matter of days. 2 strikes that would set off a chain of events even he, with all his foresight, couldn't have fully prepared for. He didn't know it yet, but the foundations he thought were now unshakable were about to be tested in ways he could have never imagined. Now, let's continue with part 3 of this epic saga. It was a Thursday night around 10:30 p.m. when Malak left the church function. The night air was cool against his face as he stepped outside. He was tired, but it was the good kind of tired. The kind you feel when you've been among brothers, when your spirit feels full. He got into his Audi S7, his pride, his reward. A gift he had bought for himself just a few months earlier for a job well done. A black beauty fitted with low-profile Pirelli tires floating on air suspension. It wasn't just a car. It was a symbol, proof that he could rise, proof that he could build, proof that he could have nice things and keep them. About half a mile down the road, the tire pressure light blinked on. Malak glanced at it. Not unusual. Pirellis lost air sometimes. He made a mental note. I'll take it to the tire shop tomorrow. No panic, no concern, just the rhythmic confidence of a man who finally had some control over his life. He hit the I-10 highway, letting the car stretch its legs. 128 miles per hour, the engine's song in his ears. The rush of speed smoothing out the rough edges of his day. He knew that car inside and out. Every sound, every vibration, every nuance between regular mode and sport mode. But then, something felt wrong. Subtle at first, a slight sway in the rear, barely noticeable, unless you knew the car the way he did. As he approached the sharp curve ahead, he heard it. A voice. Loud, urgent, like someone sitting right next to him screaming in his ear, "Don't go that way!" For a split second, he thought he was hallucinating, but the car's sway said otherwise. Instinct overrode logic. He trusted the voice. Malak made a snap decision. He jumped into the HOV lane to merge onto the alternate highway route home. His speed dropped to around 90, still fast, but manageable. There was only one other car on the road now. It passed him quickly, its taillights fading into the night. Malak glanced up at the last road sign he passed, mentally logging it. 24th Street exit, remember it. Army training kicked in. Always know your location, always have an exit plan. And then it happened. The rear of the car fishtailed violently. Right, left, right again. The wheel fought him. The back end swung from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, whipping the heavy frame like a rag doll. What's going on? Stay calm, center yourself, he told himself. Heart pounding, mind racing, but training taking over. He knew what could happen. He could roll, the car could flip. At these speeds, survival wasn't promised. His eyes locked onto the median barrier, the only thing separating him from 5 lanes of oncoming traffic. One chance, one move. He yanked the wheel left, just enough to straighten the front wheels as the back end whipped around. The car collided with the median barrier. Not a direct crash, a glancing blow. Enough to slow him down. But there was one thing he didn't account for. The median wasn't flat. It had a sloped bottom. When the car hit, the angle launched him upward. for a terrifying heartbeat, Malak was airborne. He saw the headlights of oncoming traffic, saw the end, saw death flying toward him at 70 miles per hour. This is it. But then, a miracle. The car slammed down, not into traffic, but onto the narrow shoulder of the HOV lane, alive, unharmed, saved. The whole ordeal took less than 10 seconds, but it rewired his heart forever. Still shaking but laser-focused, Malak's army discipline took over. He grabbed his phone. No dialing, no calling for help. Too risky at night on a dark highway. Instead, he fired off a telegram message to his brothers. Accident. Need help. 202 East, just past the 24th Street exit. HOV lane, simple, precise, actionable. He waited, watching for the double check marks on the app to confirm it was delivered. Within 6 or 7 minutes, headlights appeared. 5 of his brothers pulled up. No questions, just presence, just action. They circled the car, assessing the damage. Rear passenger tire shredded down to the rim. The culprit. When they popped the hood, they found even worse news. The left suspension shaft had snapped. It lodged itself deep into the engine block. The frame was compromised. The car was totaled. Gone. Another symbol of progress. Stripped away in an instant. But Malak didn't call his wife. Not yet. Not because he was hiding it, but because he didn't want to argue. Not here. Not now. Not in front of his brothers. They helped him tow the car to his mechanic shop. Silent solidarity. No lectures, no judgment. Just men who knew what it was to survive a crash and walk away without a scratch. Only when he was alone driving home did Malak finally call. "Why didn't you wake me up?" his wife asked groggily. There was no real anger in her voice, just confusion. "I walked away from that totaled car without a scratch," he said. "I was good. No need to get you worked up. Simple. Director. No room for drama." Friday came. He stayed home from work to process everything. His boss even texted, "No problem. Work from home." He thought he had dodged the storm. He thought the worst was behind him. But he didn't know yet that Monday would bring a different kind of collision. One he couldn't steer away from. One that would change his life forever. Monday morning started off deceptively normal. The kind of morning that tricks you into believing everything is fine. Malak woke up early, got dressed, grabbed a light breakfast, logged into his mind the key numbers he had been tracking for weeks. Today was a big day. The company was in the middle of a major product launch, one that promised big commissions. Metrics were soaring. Sales goals were being obliterated. Everyone in the office was riding a high wave of success, and Malak had been a huge part of why. At 10 a.m. sharp, the weekly team meeting kicked off. Smiles, laughter, the kind of buzz that fills a room when everyone knows they're winning. But beneath it all, behind the congratulatory tones and corporate smiles, something sinister was waiting. A snake in the grass, biding its time. When the meeting wrapped, Malak was just starting to rise from his chair when he heard it. Sharp, accusatory. "What's this, Malak?" He turned toward the 85-inch screen on the conference room wall and froze. There he was, projected for the whole room to see. A video of himself giving marketing lessons from his personal business Facebook page. Confusion swept over him. Not fear, just confusion. He kept his voice calm, measured. "What's the issue with it?" he asked. "This is me on my own time. at my home office. But his boss wasn't listening. His boss wasn't looking for an explanation. He was building a case. "What about this?" the boss barked, flipping to another screen. This time it showed Malak's personal website, marketing materials, financial claims. "What clients are you working with where you're making this type of money?" his boss demanded, voice rising. Malak paused, still confused, still composed, still trying to understand why this was even an issue. Then the accusation came like a slap in the face. "You stole from me," his boss hissed, face reddening. Malak stayed seated, stayed calm. "How do you figure?" he said evenly, refusing to be baited. "These are my numbers, my results," his boss screamed. "You don't have any clients, you're a liar." Malak inhaled slowly, willing himself to stay calm. He could feel the eyes of the others in the office, waiting, watching, expecting him to snap, expecting the angry black man to rise up and prove their stereotypes. But he wouldn't give them that. Instead, he spoke clearly, without raising his voice. "I've been building a name for myself for years. I take on clients here and there on my off time, when I'm not working up to 16 hours a day for you." And then the truth that stung. "Any contributions I've made to your company, those are my accolades too." He wasn't wrong. He wasn't lying. Malak had doubled the company's revenue. He took them from $1 million a year to $2 million consistently. And he never once breached confidentiality, never once claimed credit for what wasn't his, never once dragged the company's name into anything. But it didn't matter. His boss had decided. Malak's success outside of their walls was a threat. His talent was fine, as long as it stayed caged, as long as it stayed small enough for them to control. Malak wasn't just a marketing director, he was an author, a public speaker, a mentor to others. Invited frequently to his wife's medical school to lecture students on how to build a practice after graduation. He even published a book to help young doctors turn their degrees into businesses. And that was the real crime. He had outgrown their chains. He had started living like a man who didn't need their approval. Back in the office, his boss snapped, yelling now, wild with frustration. "You're fired. You're done. I never want to see you again." Malak didn't flinch. He didn't beg. He didn't defend himself anymore. He just turned his gaze off the screen, locked eyes with his boss for one long, heavy moment, and stood up, head held high, back straight. As he walked back to his office to gather his things, he noticed something. His boss quickly deactivated the recording function on his phone. He had been recording the whole ambush. He set me up, Malak thought, with a mix of anger and disgust. He wanted to catch me slipping, wanted a show. But Malak hadn't given it to him. He hadn't raised his voice. He hadn't lost his temper. He had remained what they could never understand: a man. And that infuriated his boss even more. The boss, red-faced and trembling, followed him down the hall, slamming the office door behind him. "Why would you do that? That was so stupid of you," his boss barked. Malak turned calmly to face him. No rage, no fear, just truth. "I came to you months ago for a raise," he said. "You admitted I deserved it. But you gave raises to everyone else in this office except me. And this after I helped save your other company from bankruptcy. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I have bills, I have responsibilities to my family, just like you do. I never took a dime from you that wasn't owed. I never took accolades I didn't earn. He paused. Let the weight of his words settle in the small room. Every time we went to your corporate events, every time you paraded me around to your industry friends, when they tried to poach me, I told you immediately. I valued loyalty, and this is how I'm repaid. He picked up his last box of belongings, no slamming doors, no raised voices, only dignity. It's all good, he said as he walked out. Thank you for the opportunity. His boss stood frozen silent, because he knew. Deep down, he knew everything Malak said was true, but the performance had to be maintained. The narrative had to be protected. Malak carried his box to his car, got in, pulled around the corner out of sight from the office building, and sat there. Alone, the weight of the moment finally pressing down on his chest. No job, no prospects. A wife about to graduate, but no steady income to support the future they had been building. Just a little savings tucked away. Not enough for long. The longest car ride of his life was waiting for him. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't know what waited for him on the other side. But nothing, not the firing, not the silence, not the humiliation could prepare him for the words she was about to say. Words that would bring a grown man to his knees. The betrayal wasn't done. It was just getting started. Part 4 is coming, and it hurts deeper than you're ready for.